The stream is going to be very simple. It's going to be me talking about my direct experience as I'm drinking some tea. Today I have a tea from white to tea. It's a pu'er. It's very nice. I've had it many times. I like it. I'm just going to talk about how I feel. Starting with a little cold. I feel a little cold. It's like very pleasantly cold. I just opened up my door. I don't know how cold it is outside. It was about 70 degrees inside. Until I opened the door. My mood is already pretty high, feeling pretty pleasant in that sense. It smells very cozy. It's like bubble gum and something else that's more cozy. I'm enjoying the sounds of the outside world. I don't often, well, I have my door open pretty occasionally, but not every single time. And I like it when the door's open. I can hear some cars, I can hear some birds. It's just pleasant, extra noise. I like to hear sounds. I like the background noise. My body is feeling very relaxed. Throat feels a bit rough. I feel very well rested. A little bit of soreness in some muscles. I went to the gym yesterday. I'm feeling visually like things are very close. Cluttered feeling. This tea is incredibly smooth and very round and pleasant and soft on the tongue. It's got a long aftertaste. So with a long aftertaste, or with certain aftertaste, it has to be long. If it's a long aftertaste, it mostly is the experience of the taste happens when you breathe out. I'll just speak for myself here. After drinking certain teas, while breathing out, I will taste the tea more. So I think it slows down my breathing a bit. Maybe I was already breathing slowly. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention before. But right when I drink the tea, I want to breathe slowly. So I feel like I want to look past. There's like my normal visual field, and I don't want to focus on it. I want to look past it. I'm really enjoying the sounds. I don't think this is audible for the stream. So there's some birds chirping. There are some cars that are kind of on a nearby street, and there's some other noises more distant and more constant. And a few other sounds, all kind of blending together. It's very pleasant. So I can feel my face activating every time I want to speak, and then relaxing when I finish speaking. It's a bit difficult to keep a relaxed face while speaking. I also start to like slur my words. I'll try it a little bit. So I'm just trying to keep my face relaxed as I'm speaking. So I feel like I have to speak lower or my tone changes. I feel just really weird. I'm gonna say some words. Let me relax again. What I mean is I'm gonna like recite something so that I can say a lot of things in one go. think I was just brushed by a moth or something. It's very pleasant. There was a pleasant happening here. I just drank this tea. I drank a little bit. I had a little bit on the t tip of my tongue, but it seemed to just light up my whole tongue and mouth all at once. Light up as in there's a particular feeling that radiated across. It was very pleasant. Okay, I'm gonna recite something. Alexei Fyodorovich Karamazov was the third son of Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov, a landowner well known in his day and still remembered owing to his gloomy and tragic death. It seems very weird to hold my so many muscles in the face that activate while speaking. I don't know how to. Just feels weird. It feels very pleasant, but it feels weird. I'm enjoying it. I'm wanting to stare. My vision is beginning to saturate already. And there's the sense of motion visually, the sense of motion visually. There's a sense of settledness. I don't really know how to precisely call it. So I get this, I feel like, how do I feel like? I can't tell if this is like a thought, a visual thought that I'm having as this experience. Anyway, I'm getting experience. I'm feeling something, and I want to say that it feels like I'm under covers, like cozy underneath, like bed sheets. You ever see a pillow fort before? You ever watch a Disney movie with happy white children in like a pillow fort? That's what I feel like right now. It's very pleasant. But the way that it's being experienced, I'm just saying what it feels like. Okay, but it's like it's like that. The feeling is that my some of the senses, not all of them, some of them, visual and the the somatic senses, I seem to be experiencing them as if they were projected above me or around me or something like that. I think I'm feeling a little less, I'm feeling low reactivity. I'm just thinking of, I just heard like a very loud settling of my house, but it didn't really startle me. And then I'm remembering that I felt a moth brushing against my arm a moment ago. Also did not startle me. What I mean by it didn't startle me, it didn't like cause a full body reaction, which does sometimes happen. I'm enjoying this feeling of doing this. So usually when I pour, I don't know if I talk about this a lot. When I pour my tea, I'm usually circling around the pitcher that I'm pouring into. It's really like slight movement. I'm not I'm not paying attention at all if I'm moving my wrist or my elbow or my shoulder. I'm not really paying attention to that. But anyway, I'm just making a slight movement around and it feels pleasant. Feeling a sense of floating. Body feels really light. I also feel settled. Settled and floating. They seem to be opposites. Feels nice to have the warmth of the tea liquid down my throat. I can feel it. You seem to be interested. I am interested in this. I'm seeing there's a shadow. Can you see this? There's no way. You can't see it. So I've got a light. It's really bright there, and it's causing a slight shadow across my teacup, which moves quite a bit when I move very slightly. So I'm enjoying looking at it. I'm just looking at it, staring at it. Today is an eyes wide open kind of day. My eyes are wide open. The sense of touch feels very nice. I'm feeling particularly sensitive to the textures. I'm wearing some pants that are fuzzy. Pants, as in pajama pants that are fuzzy. I'm feeling this clay, unglazed clay guy picture here, and my cup. They're both very rough textured with different types of roughness. Can you see that? That's the cup. It's rough, as in the clay itself is rough. Even even internally, it's pretty rough. Well, that's the shadow. You can see the shadow thing I'm talking about. That's pretty close to what I was talking about with the shadow. So the it's rough already, but then it also has these like really big globs of something. It's like carved out. Feels good. And then the picture, which is not getting into focus. Oh, there it is. It's very rough. It makes a sound. You can't hear it. But then there are also textures all around it. Anyway, feels good. Feeling like there's a slight pulling. Something to do with, well, there's just a slight pulling. I feel like I'm being drawn into something, as if gravity were turned on in that direction, forward for me, and I'm just being slightly pulled towards something. And the vision seems to be slightly warping, moving. Warping isn't right, but moving is right. There's like this slight sense of movement. feeling more, seeing more, some type of something. The things that are closer to me. There's a type of weird 3D vision that I don't have a name for here. It seems like things are moving, but based on how close they are or how far they are, they're moving in slightly different directions. And along with that is a feeling, a bodily feeling. I want to describe it like some type of expansion, like reactivity returned. I just got startled by a bird. It feels like it feels like this. That makes sense? Like like something just slightly coming apart, extending. Not like fully breaking off, but extending. It's a very pleasant feeling. Body's feeling more relaxed. Feeling a little bit of tingling on the skin, mostly on my face, a bit on the hands also, in the arms, I guess all around. A little cold, again, a pleasant coldness though, but that's only uh, external temperature. It's like skin temperature. Skin temperature is cold, but the internal temperature is very nice and warm. Feeling more of that sense of being pulled into something. I'm feeling a bit of euphoria, maybe. Seems like it would be nice to just jump into it. but I probably won't. My water's beginning to boil again. It was really cold. It had cooled down quite a bit, so I wanted it to warm back up. I can see the steam in it. I like the way it looks. So a lot of these feelings can persist through my regular day, depending on how much I focus on them. Think. At least that helps. I don't have to though. Sometimes they just persist. But if I would want to direct it a bit, I can selectively focus on certain parts. That's very nice to have available. It's not something I often do. I don't often direct the experience that I'm having, but I would like to do it more often. I spoke recently about goals, learning about setting goals. In any case, I learned about certain strategy for setting goals, and within that strategy, it's essentially a word association. I'm not going to, not a word association. It's an association, a mental association between certain concepts. I don't want to get too deep into it currently. I will another time, maybe. No, I'm sure I will another time. But what's important is that basic association of the things, the goal, the results of the goal, the reasons why the goal hasn't been achieved already, and then the steps to achieve that goal, and the mental state that would be most appropriate for achieving the goal. And all these things get associated in some very simple way, so that if you ever think about the goal and the results of the goal, you immediately think of what the reasons why you can't achieve the goal or haven't achieved the goal, and then you immediately think of the steps to achieve them. I'm saying think. It's not really a thought. Well, it doesn't have to be a thought. You get the picture, though. It's a mental association. I think you get the picture. And all that with the addition of the particular mental state that would be most appropriate for achieving the goal. Do you see the relevance here? Certain mental states are appropriate for achieving goals if you have the flexibility to direct your mental state. It makes it easy to get into the appropriate mental state for particular goals. And if you're flexible of that, flexible as in if you do it enough, it should become more automatic so that the mental state changes so that it's appropriate for achieving certain goals. That's the idea. So it's nice to be aware of the mental state. Startled again. I have a light that turns off at 8 o'clock. That light just turned off. It's 8 o'clock. I'm having thoughts that don't seem to want to form, or rather, they're not forming. They're not fully forming. Mostly auditory. My thoughts are usually auditory thoughts. Usually, let's say, spontaneously, usually auditory thoughts. Occasionally, spontaneously, visual thoughts. And occasionally, further taste thoughts. Taste as in like smelling or tasting, whatever. And if I care to think, as opposed to spontaneously having thoughts, if I care to think, then I can think in lots of different ways and all the sensations. Maybe not all of them, but most of them, a lot of them. Anyway, right now my thoughts are auditory. Auditory as in words or sentences, but they're not fully formed sentences, they're fractured, disconnected. I'm hearing some more birds. I'm hearing some sounds outside that are very pleasant. I'm feeling extremely sensitive to touch. I feel very cozy. Whatever that feeling of being under covers and having the senses projected onto the blanket, it's very cozy. Beginning to feel a little hungry. I have prepared myself some food. Forgot my waste bowl. I don't have a bowl to put my tea into. Oh, it's gonna be my breakfast. It's called an apple banana. You ever hear an apple banana? They're very tasty. Highly recommend it. Very sweet. It's delicious. Would be nice to sit here for another hour or so. But the tea has run its course, and I don't drink multiple teas too much. Well, thanks for listening to my experience as I'm drinking tea. It's very pleasant. Very pleasant. Gonna continue some of that into my day. I enjoyed streaming. Let's do it again. Y'all take care.